Okay, so recently I've had a lot of people asking me, hey, can you do a top 10 of your favorite movies? And I'm thinking, sure I can. Let's get crack-a-lackin'. Number 10, Dazed and Confused. Dazed and Confused is a 1993 movie directed by Richard Linklater. This movie is mostly about smoking weed, having fun, partying, and deciding where you want to go with your life after you get out of high school. This movie had a few unknown actors at the time, including Lily Jovovich and Ben Affleck. Also, Matthew McConaughey decides to grace you with his presence in this movie. Party at the Moon Tower. Y'all should go. Alright, alright, alright. Thing I love about these high school girls, man, I get older, they stay the same age. Yes, they do. Number 9, Signs. Signs is a 2002 film directed by M. Night Shyamalan back when he didn't suck. The movie stars Mel Gibson, who plays a man that lost his wife recently and is trying to deal with the fact that aliens have now kind of shown up, and he's also trying to question his faith at the same time. This movie to me is probably one of the scariest movies of all time. I know people are going to be like, what the fuck? But seriously, aliens scare the shit out of me. Like the whole scene in the movie where he's fucking in the cornfield and he's like tapping the flashlight, and when the light comes on it hits the alien's leg and you see it kind of creep back into the cornfield. I was like, whoa. Oh, and it also stars Joaquin Phoenix before he kind of fell off the face of the earth, I guess. Number 8, The Shining. Shining is a 1980 film directed by Stanley Kubrick based off of the Stephen King novel of the same name. The Shining is about a man starring Jack Nicholson who takes his family to the Overlook Hotel, which is in the middle of fucking nowhere in Colorado, to look over it for the winter. At first everything's okay, seems fine, and then you start to notice that the hotel is fucking haunted. And this movie scared the shit out of me. Not only that, but the book also scared the shit out of me. Their little annoying ass son, Danny, is psychic. He sees everything in the hotel that's going on when the parents can't yet. Like the scene where he's riding around on his bike and the two twin girls are standing in the hallway just kind of, come and play with us, Danny. And hey, hands down the best acting in this movie was done by Tony, Danny's imaginary friend. Yes, Mrs. Torrance.
Here's Johnny!
Number 7, Disturbia. Disturbia is a 2007 film directed by DJ Caruso and stars Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf plays a character named Cale Gregg who recently lost his father and is on house arrest for punching his teacher in the face. What a badass. While on house arrest, he starts to get kind of bored, so he starts to spy on the neighbors, or he suspects that his next door neighbor is a murderer. Kind of takes adaptation from the movie Rear Window. Shia LaBeouf's actually a really good actor. And this movie, I think, was probably the best role that he's done in a while, especially since he's literally the only one in the movie half the time. And trying to bring on that, trying to keep the suspense going and trying to stay in character while you're the only one on camera is kind of a hard job to do. So props to Shia LaBeouf for this movie. Oh, and Trinity plays his mom. Number 6, Back to the Future. Back to the Future is a 1985 film directed by Robert Zemeckis starring Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox. The plot of this movie is Michael J. Fox's character gets sent back in time to the year 1955.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine?
Pretty much he's got to get back to the future. It's the name of the movie. While in 1955, he makes some decisions that all kind of altered the future. He makes out with his fucking mom. Ew! Number 5, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. The Empire Strikes Back was a 1980 film directed by Irvin Kershner and is the very first Star Wars film to not be directed by George Lucas. The Empire Strikes Back is considered one of the greatest sequels of all time. This movie reunites Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill, respectively. Luke, now is more confident with himself in this movie and is training to become a Jedi and is becoming more and more powerful, while also they're dealing with the threat of the Empire and finding out that Darth Vader is Luke's real father. Also, I find this movie to be better than A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, just for the fact that there's no fucking Ewoks in this movie. The Ewoks made me want to kick babies. Number 4, Fight Club. The Fight Club is a 2001 film directed by David Fincher. This movie stars Edward Norton and Brad Pitt, and Edward Norton's character is never given a name, but he's kind of down on his luck, kind of hates his life, hates his job, until he meets Tyler Durden, played by Brad Pitt, who is the sole owner of a soap company. They kind of become friends, they kind of form a bond, and they start underground fight clubs. First rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. And if it's your first night of Fight Club, you have to fight. Start to become a huge organization around the world as far as crime goes. And then there's Marla, played by Helena Bonham Carter. And then you kind of find out towards the end of the movie that Brad Pitt's character never existed, that it was all Edward Norton, and it's all in his head. Number 3, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. The Perks of Being a Wallflower is a 2012 film directed by Stephen Bosky, who also wrote the novel. The movie is about a high school freshman named Charlie, played by Logan Lerman, who He's kind of a loner, he's kind of unpopular until he meets up with Sam and Patrick, played by Emma Watson and Ezra Miller. They kind of take him under his wing and make him part of their group. This movie kind of deals with high school popularity, coming to terms with sexuality, and the overall fun I guess you have in high school. Emma Watson's actually first movie with an American accent, so you can kind of tell that it slips sometimes. But you kind of find out in the movie that Charlie, he kind of has PTSD. He was sexually abused as a child, and then you find out in the movie that he's a fucking badass and he beats the shit out of like 5 people and blacks out, doesn't even remember it. Number 2, The Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises is a 2012 film directed by Christopher Nolan. It was the third and final Batman film in Nolan's Batman series. Like, reunited with Christian Bale once more. People are going to say, well, The Dark Knight Rises is not as good as The Dark Knight. No, it's not. But I like this movie. You saw more Batman in this movie. At the same time, you know, he's still struggling from taking the fall for Harvey Dent's murder 8 years previous. You had to see him become Batman again because he gets his ass handed to him by Bane, played by Tom Hardy, who did a great job as Bane, by the way. And also Catwoman is in this movie, played by Anne Hathaway, who did okay. Excellent, excellent conclusion to the Dark Knight trilogy, and I highly recommend that you watch it. Number 1, come on, Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is a 1993 film directed by Steven Spielberg and was the movie of its time as far as special effects go and visual effects. The characters are flown to an island off the coast of Costa Rica where a man has learned how to recreate dinosaur DNA using reptile DNA. Well, shit goes wrong and the entire park becomes chaos. They must escape, and you know the story. I want to look at some other mentions that I wanted to put on this list but I just couldn't. Pulp Fiction, Toy Story, Jaws. Jaws almost became number 1 on this list. Almost, but Jurassic Park is hands down my favorite movie, so it wasn't on the list. So that was my top 10 favorite movies of all time so far. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to know what you guys thought. I want to know what your favorite movies are. Comment below, let me know, subscribe.